Hello, we're in a lesson on the topic of Passover. We will read selected excerpts from the sources. We are in the subsection From Exile to Redemption, item number 125.
Yes, this is truly a very sensitive topic, very special. We have to pay attention that sometimes it's not as we think, that it turns out that there is an intermediate between exile and redemption, and that is love of others. That's in the middle, and it's completely not touching our heart at the moment. So there are a few things that we have to learn here and try to get to know, to get used to get closer to. And thus we'll see what else we're missing in order to reach redemption. Redemption means that we are already understanding the Creator, knowing the Creator, loving the Creator, and detached from our ego and connected, bonded with the will to bestow. So let's continue.
In excerpt 125, RABASH writes, "At the time of redemption, one feels that the exile was all bitter. But before the redemption, we still cannot know that the exile is so bitter. This is the meaning of as the advantage of the light from within the darkness. When we see the light, we can see the darkness. This is the meaning of if there is no knowledge, for reason is still in exile. From where is the distinction?"
Yes, meaning only when we leave the will to receive in order to receive, we begin to feel how it's possible to live well and free above all disturbances in a world without boundaries, infinite. And that is redemption. So we replace the exile with redemption. And before that, we don't feel it. Just imagine yourselves a person who's born a slave or in prison, but he never saw anything outside of that. So to him, that's life. And he can't imagine that there's anything outside of that. So when we come out of the exile, we do it gradually. We're not going to be able to even detect these steps, but as we come out of the exile bit by bit, making efforts to come out and having difficulties and struggles on the way, then we can begin to recognize the exile we were in, and the redemption that we begin to yearn for. Kyiv 1.
Да, дорогой Рав, тут написано, что до избавления еще не можем.
Yes, dear Rav, it says here.
Изгнание такое горькое. А с другой стороны, вот мы все эти дни говорили о том, что
that all of this was given in order to recognize that exile is bitter. But on the other hand, we say that it's better to be dead than alive, to know our full state of exile. So how should we work?
The light of redemption does shine on us a little bit from afar while we're in exile. But we so that we feel that these two states are detached from each other, opposite to each other, and that we truly want to only be in redemption. Redemption is revelation of the Creator inside the person. And accordingly, we want to escape the exile even more. Turkey 4.
Salam. When we see light, we can see darkness. But does one see a light in the dark?
There are states where we see light in the darkness and darkness in the light. Such states that we can be impressed from these two states and what they are opposite each other, as the light excels from darkness, as it's written. But in truth, we have to be in a process, a practical process of going in and out, until we truly get the right impression from all of the phases of darkness and light and how they complete each other. Because it's not by chance that the light excels from darkness, meaning the entire advantage of the light comes from the darkness. One cannot be without the other. For us as created beings, it is the only way to assess, appreciate, estimate, and respect it. And so then we also relate differently to the darkness, because thanks to the darkness we reveal the light, we identify the light, and we maintain the light. It's also only from the darkness. If they would not go through darkness, they would not keep the darkness. If they would not find the darkness by effort and labor, and also the same thing, the light was revealed from within the darkness through the labor and through falling and coming out. And it's not this one-way street that you're just hitting the gas pedal, let's say, and you're just moving up all the time. And specifically because of these changes and connections between light and darkness, we can appreciate the darkness, because from within that we come to the light. And then we can respect and appreciate the light. And from the light that shines, we better see the depth of darkness and how it is built in a multifaceted way also, providing us with different shapes and forms of the will to receive. That thanks to its multifacetedness, we can discern the shapes of the light. Just as it says, as the light excels from the darkness. And the darkness will shine as light and so forth. They're always intertwined. And therefore, it's very interesting how by creating the darkness, the Creator created a feeling within us so that we can differentiate between all the different aspects of creation.
Thanks. Good morning, Rav. I heard you say at the beginning of the lesson that when you leave the will to receive, you can feel freedom. What does it mean to feel freedom?
What does it mean, what?
To be free.
What does it mean to be free? To be free from our will to receive, that we'll be able to overcome it and adhere to the Creator. This is called free.
It demands a lot of exertion. Where's freedom here?
The freedom in being able to overcome and come out of your will to receive. Be a free nation in our land, in our desire that is free. Now, the fact that it requires a lot of efforts and strength, and what can you do?
So what is that freedom? Because usually we have some kind of sensation of rest.
No. There is no such thing in nature at all. This is what's called the dead are free. The dead are free is a twofold explanation. That the will to receive dies and then one is free, right? Or that he comes to a state in himself where the will to receive is dead and then he's free.
Thank you very much.
Moscow 1.
Да, дорогой Раф, спасибо. А вот преодолеть желание получать, как вы сказали, это все-таки осознанно идти на это состояние?
To rise above the will to receive, does that mean to come to it with awareness?
I choose to go against the will to receive because I want to be above it. And even though I really want to, and this desire eats me up, as it says, I'm dying to carry it out, but I'm going above that. I raise myself above that. Dudi.
Item 126, Baal HaSulam. To the extent that the children of Israel thought that Egypt were enslaving them and impeding them from serving the Creator, they truly were in exile in Egypt. Hence, the Redeemer's only work was to reveal to them that there is no other force involved here, that I am not a messenger, for there is no force but Him. This was indeed the light of redemption.
Yes. Read again.
126. To the extent that the children of Israel thought that Egypt were enslaving them and impeding them from serving the Creator, they truly were in the exile in Egypt. Hence, the Redeemer's only work was to reveal to them that there is no other force involved here, that I am not a messenger, for there is no force but Him. This was indeed the light of redemption.
Yes. So, we have, Kyiv. Okay. Kyiv.
So, in accordance to what we just read, it turns out that the Egyptians are also the Creator.
Of course, everything stems from the upper force. Do you see anyone who's not under the Creator's control? Everyone is under a single governance.
So why did we need to come out of Egypt? We could have just stayed there knowing it's the Creator.
There's a difference. If you're in Egypt, you have to follow the rules of Pharaoh. If you come out of Egypt, which is certainly by the upper force, by the force of the Creator, you then enter a new quality, the forces of the Creator.
Вот интересно, почему они не давали?
Why are the Egyptians, why didn't they enable to serve the Creator? What's wrong with having love of others? Everyone's giving to society, supporting.
It's against man's ego. What is Egypt? It's a state where each one is using their will to receive and feels that this is correct.
Но мы же говорим о любви к ближнему, да, что...
But we're talking about love of others, and
Egypt is not love of others. Egypt is self-love.
Да, это понятно. Я имею в виду, что... То есть египтяне, они ни в каком виде...
yeah, that's clear. I mean that the Egyptians aren't willing to receive love of others under any circumstances?
No, until you exit Egypt, you can't accept love of others as a necessary thing, as a good thing. But only those called people of Israel, they are in Egypt, and then in Egypt they begin to feel that they do want to leave the rule of their ego, the rule of Pharaoh, and move to the rule of the Creator.
So you could say that every time that in the 10 we are slightly revealing this love between us, then we are slightly coming out of Egypt.
Yeah, to some extent we move away from Egypt, correct. Okay, we only have Tel Aviv 3.
Rav, he writes that all of the difficulty is to pass on the message that it is I and not a messenger. Why is that so difficult?
Because we can't know the Creator without something and its opposite, if not through opposites. So what happens is that we have to be in Egypt, in the great, wide open and revealed ego. And only from that desire, from that state, we can begin to recognize that there is an opposite state, which is a state of love of others, of bestowing to others, of love of the Creator. Opposite states. The advantage of the light from within the darkness, that's the only way we can feel the difference. So there has to be first this exile in Egypt, this work with our egoistic desire, and only then coming out of it.
To tell the created beings that the Creator is behind every action. Is that something complex? Does that require... Why is it so hard to tell the created being after every action that there is none else besides Him? Why is there a need for such a complex system? He says that this is the biggest difficulty of the Creator, to reveal to them.
Because what works within the created being, he thinks this is everything, this is the uppermost thing, this is nature, and the will to receive is what rules the world. When you look today at the whole world and people and still vegetative, animate, speaking, don't you see that in every corner the will to receive rules?
But the Creator Himself did it, that it will be so concealed.
But we have to then discover it, that behind this concealment there is a control of the will to bestow, of love.
Turkey 5. Woman PT 33.
Yes. PT 3, women PT 33.
Thank you, Rav. If we ask two questions, the first is of a friend. Is darkness lack of interest in spirituality and the Creator, lack of a desire to know it?
Darkness depends on how a person identifies the darkness. If it's that he doesn't love the friends, doesn't love the Creator, doesn't want to be with them, wants to move away from them, in all kinds of ways of the will to receive. That, to the extent that he identifies this way, the will to receive in the darkness, that's how he ranks himself.
Okay, and another question regarding that the dead are free. These are two explanations, that the will to receive dies and then a person is free, or that he comes himself to a state that his will to receive dies and then he is free. Could you elaborate the difference between these two explanations?
I don't see two explanations here. The dead are free, meaning that if one's will to receive dies, then he becomes free of the will to receive. There's no alternative explanation.
I heard you say something that the dead are free are two explanations, that the will to receive dies and then a person is free, or that he comes to a state like...
And then what? What's the second one?
Or that he comes to a state that himself, that the will to receive is dead, and then he is free.
In himself? Well, what does that mean? I don't know.
No.
Yeah. The will to receive dies when a person makes efforts to put it to death. And then it is called the dead are free. It can't be otherwise.
So there aren't two explanations?
No, only one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rav.
Good luck. You're successful. Latin 11.
Sí, Rav. Usted dijo que atrás del ocultamiento está el control del amor. ¿Podría desarrollar esto un poco más? Gracias.
Roberto is asking, you said that behind the concealment there is domination of love. Could you explain that a little bit?
If we take off this cover of control, hatred, rejection, the will to receive, then we discover that there is a clean, naked heart that is willing to connect to others. And it's like you say, peel a golden apple. You peel from an orange. You peel the shell, and it becomes usable. And that's how we have to look at our hearts and help each other peel off our heart.
Good morning, Rav. How do we work correctly with our 10 in order to want to put our will to receive to death?
How do we want only to connect between us more and more, to learn together, to be together, be in the lesson together as much as possible? Like, say, ahead of us is the week of Passover. So we should try as much as we can, be connected every day, discuss this topic of letting go of the will to receive and coming closer to the will to bestow between us. And that's how it works. I hope that after the week of Passover, we will look different.
Tel Aviv 1.
Tel Aviv 1.
Good morning, Rav. Good morning, friends. To exit the will to receive, we only can do that if we know we have an option to bestow. We know we're in a cage and we think that the cage is all there is. We don't even have awareness that there is something beyond that. Even more so, an opening.
I don't understand what you're saying. You don't understand that there's also a will to bestow? You don't understand that it's possible to embrace and love one another?
I understand that. I'm talking about states that you fall from it, or even before you attained it, you think the will to receive is all there is. How can one even think of exiting this, in not even speaking of doing it in practice?
After I come to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, I receive an explanation that I exist in a life that is complete will to receive, still vegetative, animate, and speaking. And there is a possibility to exit that will to receive, be above it, in a will to bestow. And how is that done? If we, together, in the group, we connect and demand of the Creator to elevate us to that. None of us is capable on his own to rise above his ego. But if we all together understand that, and we turn to the Creator and we ask, then He raises us above our ego, and then we'll be able to connect to each other and to the Creator Himself with an intention to bestow goodness to each other. And in such a desire, we'll begin to feel the world that is above our ego, the upper part of reality.
I understand. Thank you for the explanation, and I wish it will happen. Thank you, Rav.
Turkey 4.
How does the understanding that there is no other power in Egypt besides the Creator while in slavery under the rule of Pharaoh bring light?
It doesn't bring light. It, bit by bit, advances us to exit our ego, and then at the boundary, the border, the exit from our ego, we begin to see the light. Instead of a will to receive, we begin to feel a will to bestow within us. Moscow 7.
Рав, вот понимание и ощущение, что изгнание и избавление от Творца идет.
The understanding that exile and redemption come from the Creator, also exile and also redemption come from the Creator, that brings to a person to understand eventually what is exile and what he wants to reach.
Yes, the advantage of the light from within the darkness means that what we receive during the exile in Egypt, we need all of that in order to then feel what is redemption. Because without Egypt, we cannot discover the Creator. We need the darkness as the light. The light's advantage is from within the darkness, from the difference between them.
Rav, does this bring to the correct understanding of what is bestowal? What exactly do I want to bestow?
Yes, PT 31.
Is the exodus more difficult for a person that's more involved in the corporeal life in comparison to someone who's less involved in the corporeal life?
No, No. Also, we can't really compare the two. These are internal matters. For one person it's like this, the other person it's like that, different styles, different degrees of difficulty you can't measure. No. We can only say that one who is more connected to the friends, that makes it easier on him.
So a person can say what's delaying me is lack of connection with the friends. That's the only condition?
Yes. Yeah, that's basically the exile itself.
Yeah, but what is the Creator? The Creator is the intention in order to bestow.
No, it's not an intention. The intention comes from the human. The Creator is the upper force that guides, governs all of nature. It's the force of connection, the force of love. That's called the Creator.
I heard you say now that the intention comes from us. It isn't given to us, it comes from us.
Everything comes from the Creator, but our beginning, that we want this to happen, that's within us. Women, Moscow, 18.
Доброе утро, учитель, мировой Кли. Вопрос от десятки.
Good morning, dear teacher. Good morning, World Clear. Question from the 10. Is there a difference between what's called revelation of the Creator to true gratitude to the Creator?
These are two different things. The revelation and the gratitude. Revelation is revelation and gratitude is gratitude. I wouldn't put the two together, because gratitude is what comes out of our heart towards the Creator, and revelation is an action that brings you closer to the Creator. But still, it's not gratitude. Gratitude is a different feeling that awakens in the heart.
No, woman Rus.
Okay, women Rus.
Rav, it's written that when we see the light, we can see the darkness. To see the light, is that already a form of raising man?
Well, not only man, it's an ascent. The quality of bestowal. The action of bestowal, that's light. The action of reception, the quality of reception is darkness.
Is it the feeling of change and separating from the Creator?
It depends on what state of separation we're in, but in principle it's possible, yeah.
In that state of the request specifically.
Yes.
Rav, all the explanations that we experience here together, why the people of Israel?
It's the same group that yearns, based on the structure of their soul, they yearn for contact with the Creator.
We learn that the entire process is purposeful and necessary. Everything we experience, and part of the same creation called the people of Israel, also it's related to the purpose of creation and attaining the goal of creation. That same group that's supposed to bring all of humanity to attaining the purpose of creation. It's as if they'll reach at the last, according. It's not the control of the Creator. It's that same force that pushes him away from attaining the Creator, from attaining the purpose of creation.
I know only one thing, that in all of humanity, there are people who yearn for connection with the Creator. And they ultimately gather in Babylon around Abraham, and they're willing to do some actions in order to connect and come out of the state called Babylon. That's all. There weren't yet Israelis or Russians or Arabs or French, none of them. There was just a tendency towards the Creator in a group of people, and therefore later on they called themselves Yashar El, straight towards the Creator, Israel.
Right, that same feeling of belonging it's not just for me, it's also it was prosecuted for a long time. And why am I, as a Jew, hated by everyone? And I didn't know until I came to the group, and I understand now that all of this is a process, a purposeful trend.
Of course it's purposeful, it's directional, because within you there's a stronger reshimo, record towards the Creator, towards the upper light, and that's why you're drawn to it, and that's why you arrive in it. And also, in order to help you in that, there's hatred from the rest of the world towards you to show you have a different direction.
But there's a group of people that also belong to that same root. And
what group?
Talking about the people of Israel.
I don't see what's happening. I see that there are some who are drawn to some contact with the Creator, and they, to me, are called Israel, Yeshua, El, and straight to the Creator. And then there's others who don't belong to it, and it doesn't matter what's written in their ID.
But we're still hated, prosecuted, all around the world, in every point in the world. There's hatred towards us.
There is still hatred to Israel in different manners. More spiritual, more corporeal, somewhere along the spectrum. True, that's true. Why? To hasten, accelerate the development.
Maybe someone else will continue.
In
the beginning of the lesson, I heard that each one has an inner point that wants to connect to the others.
In each and every person, ultimately, yes, but it depends on how deep it is latent in him.
Exactly, and that's why we learned that Egypt is considered a klipa. We need to know that you need to reach a prayer from the bottom of your heart.
Yes.
Is it correct to depict that we are in exile from the depth of our heart? That the depth of our heart is a place of connection among the friends. Is that from the depth of the heart?
Yes, to the extent that a person is drawn to his internality and not his externality, then he's closer to being Israel and being with the Creator and being what's called Jewish and so forth.
When I depict that I'm in exile from the depth of my own heart, it gives strength. It feels more that it belongs to me, that it's closer to me. Is it correct to observe it this way, to look at it this way?
Yes, correct. Tel Aviv 1.
To continue what the friend asked before, all around the world, the Jews are prosecuted. It's not Italians or Dutch that's searching the Creator. Only the Jews.
Yes, but we've come to the time of the complete redemption, the beginning of the complete redemption, and therefore those who want to reach the Creator will also feel, to some extent, in some facet, they'll feel hunted or chased, persecuted.
Woman Chile.
Buenas noches, Rab. Buenas noches, amigos. En la decena tomamos las palabras suyas, Rab, y trabajamos en estas dos primeras líneas del texto 126.
In the 10, we listened to your advice,
Pensaban que por estar esclavizados
and
se
this
encontraban en el exilio y que por eso no podían servir.
a question arose. Israel thinks that because they were in exile, they couldn't serve the king. So the question is the fact that they're aware of it, of this thought, is that the beginning of exile, of redemption for them?
Yes, feeling the exile is the beginning of redemption. There's nothing in the middle between exile and redemption. There's only an eruption and escape. Women Turkey 1.
Selam Rav, selam Dünya Kalisi. Rav, örnek olmak dışında başka bir ihsan etme eylemi var mı?
Is there any other action of bestowal that I can do other than setting an example?
You have to set an example of connection and love and support to your entire 10. That's it. No more.
Woman PT 10.
Women PT 10.
יש לי שאלה לגבי הרגשת הגלות בעשירייה.
I have a question about feeling exile in the 10. Is feeling exile in the 10 when we feel that we did actions, we succeeded enough with our forces?
Is this called exile?
It's for ourselves.
Exile is called that we are in our will to receive in order to receive, which is against our desire. I don't want to be in it, but I'm still in it. Just as being like being in prison. That's called exile.
It's a sensation that's individual for each one or mutual in a 10?
Each one and everyone together.
128.
Let's do 128.
128. It is impossible to be redeemed before we feel the exile, and when we walk on the 49, we feel the exile, and the Creator redeems on the 50th gate. The only difference between Gola, exile, and Geula, redemption, is in the Aleph, which is Alufo Shel Olam, champion of the world. Hence, if one does not properly attain the exile too, he is deficient in the degree. Again, it is impossible to be redeemed before we feel the exile, and when we walk on the 49, we feel the exile. And the Creator redeems on the 50th gate. The only difference between Gola, exile, and Geula, redemption, is in the Aleph, which is Alufo Shel Olam, champion of the world. Hence, if one does not properly attain the exile, he is deficient in the degree.
Ken.
Yes. I don't see questions. Did you read well?
128. It is impossible to be redeemed before we feel the exile. And when we walk on the 49, we feel the exile, and the Creator redeems on the 50th gate. The only difference between Gola, exile, and Geula, redemption, is in the Aleph, which is Alufo Shel Olam, the champion of the world. Hence, if one does not properly attain the exile, is also deficient in the degree.
Yes, woman Europe.
Yeah, we have women Europe. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning,
How
Kanada.
do we become champion of the world?
The champion is one who includes in him all the vessels, all the lights, like the letter Aleph, which includes in it all the elements of all the letters. That's the symbol of the champion. Each one of us can reach this, must come to this. We must include within ourselves all the desires, all the thoughts, all the actions, everything necessary to include them together in order to bestow. And then we'll reach the place of the champion of the world.
Can I ask another question? There are some aspects
Yes, madam.
Yeah, there are some aspects of my nature which I feel totally helpless. I feel I can never, or maybe I can, but I feel that I can never change this nature, and it always beats me. It always, I feel paralyzed when I come to feel that it's just in me and I just can't change it. And lately, as I listen to the Passover messages, I just feel like I don't even want to talk to any human beings anymore, because every time I talk to them, I feel this nature in me and I don't know what to talk to them anymore.
This is for the time being. It's the first stage of recognition of evil. Soon it will pass and you will begin to be able to write it, to take advantage of it. Everything will be fine. It'll work itself out. The main thing is patience. On our path, we need to make room, meaning allow the time for the Creator to take care of us, to respond, to know how are we responding, if we can or cannot do something, and justify the Creator in all of His actions towards us. Not get mad, not yell, but as much as possible to cleave to Him and to accept everything what we're getting from Him with love. With love.
Okay.
We might learn one day how the embryo develops inside its mother's womb, and how, although it develops against the mother, it nevertheless receives from her, and He works with her in equivalence, and that's why it grows and develops. It's a very special process that we attain only in the end of our own development. And for now, let's go to Haifa.
Kabu 5.
Hey, Rob. Hey, World Kli. This attaining the exile properly, how is it related to our work in the 10th, the friends?
We need to reach such connection between us that we won't feel ourselves in exile, where the upper light fills all the distances between us and it raises us more and more from day to day. That's how it should be.
приходят к 49 вратам, то чувствуют изгнание. Как это
To reach the 49th gate, it's understood within reason, but it's felt. How do I understand? It is written in the excerpt, and when we walk on the 49th gate, we feel the exile. Before that, there is no reason, no feeling of it.
Okay, we don't know what is 49. Those degrees are too high up. But we do see that as we advance, we will feel ourselves in deeper and deeper exile. Although we are advancing towards coming out of Egypt, we will feel ourselves under the ever-growing control of the Pharaoh, specifically in order to advance. We are given this sensation specifically for that. Not sure what to do with you. The questions are endless.
Siberia?
Yes.
Да, а в каком виде происходит расширение ответственности за группу в процессе выхода из Египта?
In what form is the expansion of the feeling of the responsibility towards the 10 done?
In the way that we try to connect, each one influences his friend, and by that we attain the degree of our connection. And last one, Kyiv 3.
Здравствуйте. Скажите, а может быть такое внутри одной десятки, что один товарищ...
Can there be such a state where in one individual 10 there is one friend who is in Egypt, another one is in the desert, the third one is in the land of Israel?
Yes, it's possible. We need to actually encourage this togetherness of ours so that we'll all be together. Now we'll have a short break, and later...
So we'll sing a song together and move on to the next part.
Behind the curtains of the story told, behind the faces of the meek and bold, above the good and bad, the right and wrong, there's hope for a brighter dawn. We've learned to breathe without a breath of air. We've learned to run on roads that lead nowhere. Now is the time for us to rise above and learn what it is to love. We open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see that love can cover all the crimes. Open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the crimes. Beyond the border there's a song that plays, and in our hands we have a choice that waits.